Two different cases with two different solutions. Well, hi there. My name is Charles Ray Dawson. I'm the Associate Broker Residential Sales Manager at ProStar Realty. This is the Unnamed Real Estate Podcast, episode 272. And I hope you're having a good day. So, today's actually Wednesday. It's Wednesday the 22nd for me, and I'm recording this in the afternoon because, well, I'm going to have a day tomorrow. And I'm going to have a day Saturday. I got days lined up, and I'm like sitting there going, I have time now. I should get this done and out of the way. All right, so tomorrow when all hell breaks loose, I won't have to worry about my video that I didn't get to record. So, sort of weird how the entire world, you pick one day that you want to have all to yourself. The entire rest of the world tries to focus on that and find reasons why they really need to have you there for that day. So, topic of this episode, I have about three different scenarios going on right now, and I'm coming up with unique solutions for each and every one. And I was like, this is a pretty good topic of a conversation. That and national news is national news. You know, more people buying each other out and this and that and the other thing. Interest rates are at a 4-week low, which 4 weeks is not that much. Don't try to track the interest rates right now. But we are, our numbers are numbering. Just get these out of the way real quick. As soon as the screen decides to minimize for me. Like that. And these are numbers for April 22nd, 2026. Actives this week are 25,949, up 3 from last week. Are we going to break 26,000? I don't know. All right, but our new listings were 2,422, down 20 from the previous week. Contracts were 2,790, that's up 137. And our closings were 1,907 closings. Coming soon to an MLS near you is 720 new listings. I swear to God, 720. That number keeps popping up. So, Cromford report numbers, we're talking a supply of 107.3, a demand of 88.8, giving us Cromford report number for the Valley at 82.8. And let's look at our individual little cities and whatnot. And what do we got going on here? Fountain Hills leading the pack at 158, up 16% from this time last month. The next biggest grower on that one is Goodyear, up 14%. But let's go through the sellers markets. It's Fountain Hills, Chandler, Tempe, Phoenix, Glendale, Scottsdale, and Gilbert, and Mesa and Paradise Valley and Avondale. That is 10 cities that are technically in a more seller's favorable market. Our balanced, all right, is Peoria at 99.2, about as balanced as one can get. All right, and then for our more buyer-friendly markets, we're looking at Goodyear, Surprise, Santan Valley, Queen Creek, Maricopa, and Buckeye. Our biggest loser last month was Cave Creek. All right, so actually, technically, Cave Creek's in a balanced market too. So, unusual times. When the going gets weird, the weird go pro. So, 3 scenarios. First scenario, got to have a come to Jesus meeting with this guy. Wants to retire into a 55 and older community. Wants to purchase with cash a trailer in a 55 and older community. And that's really interesting because you got livable places, 10 grand. Like, pull out the credit card, put it on the credit card. There you go, 10 grand. And we got ourselves a trailer. But the lot fees, because remember, trailers are normally on leased land. Leased land out there, some of them are like $1,100 a month just to pay for the land that your trailer's on top of. Plus, on top of that, you're buying a double wide for $125. Not exactly my idea of a good investment and everything like that, but his concern is he wants to pay cash, but all of his cash is wrapped up in equity in the house. How does he get from point A to point B? All right, so we need to talk over that solution with him. He wants to get a house under contract and then sell his house to one of the iBuyers, OfferPad, Open Door, those guys. And I had to sit there and sort of point out to him, like, hey, have you gotten an offer yet from them? You should really see what they're offering you to make sure the numbers work the way you want the numbers to work. And if they don't come back the way you want them to work, let me know and we can work something else out. There's lenders out there will do what's called a chattel loan. All right. You might have heard the term chattel slavery. Okay, that basically means it's not land, but I own it. Okay, anything that you own is technically called chattel. So a chattel loan is that you are buying, in this case, a manufactured home. without a certificate of eviction, which or asphyxiation, or however you print that. That's the actual piece of paper that says this VIN number, because mobile homes have VIN numbers, has been affixed, put onto a slab and tied in to this property and transfers with the property. Makes sense? That's a loan. That's an easy loan, okay? You're just buying land with a trailer on top of it. But when you're buying the trailer without any land, then things get a little bit more interesting, right? Paying cash is a great way of doing it, all right? But how do you unlock the equity in your house? Problem number one. Second scenario, and this is going to be the fun one. I have a listing down on the south end of the valley, all right? And it doesn't have a house on it. It has a structure, but that's not a house and you can't live in it. People used to live in it back in the day, but it's not even just that it doesn't meet modern standards. It means it's not a house. Okay, so trying to convince people, it's like, no, you're not flipping that. That's not a flip-worthy house. All right, this place is not going to sell. And we're letting everybody know, because of the structure, it's there on residential retail, but it's really a land with a building you need to scrape. All right? So having this conversation with various people, somebody just wants the land and they don't care about the building because they want to park stuff on there. But just getting a land loan gets a little complicated. They really like the location. They like the price we're asking. So what we're going to do in that particular case is something called a seller's carryback. And what a seller's carryback basically is that this is hard for a lot of people to understand. All right. The buyer is buying the place, taking title and possession of the place. They are putting a certain amount of money down, and the seller is going to carry back the rest of the cost. And what happens is the buyer is going to pay the seller like they're the bank and they borrowed the money from the seller. Make sense? All right. And no, it's not a rent with the option to buy kind of stuff. It is a straight up, okay, you have title to the property, but you also have a lien of property, just like the one that the bank down the road is going to put on the property if you borrow money from them. It acts the same way. You have a mortgage. You make your payments to the mortgage to a company that's going to service a loan servicing company. That loan servicing company will take your money, take their fees out, and then pass it along to the other side. What this does is it creates a beneficial record to both sides going, the buyer knows that the seller, that it's a recorded that they are paying the seller and keeping up their end of the loan, and the seller knows that they're actually receiving the money and is getting sent straight through there. So there's no he said, she said, that kind of stuff, right? So this is a way people can sell properties that are not lendable. All right, so a couple other nice things about it is that it doesn't require an appraisal. All right, since it doesn't require an appraisal, it's what the seller wants to pay and what the buyer wants to accept. All right, that's another way to deal with certain things. And it got really, really common. I know a lot of people, a lot of investors like to do these. A lot of flippers like to do something like that because they're generally getting a lower interest rate than if they had to go to a hard money lender. Hard money lender costs you about 12 to 18% interest. All right, seller carryback's usually a lot less. All right. Also an option for you. And, for buyers who for whatever reason have really shit credit, it's also a good benefit to them. Okay. Like I just had a foreclosure 2 years ago or whatever. So anyways, that's that one. So, and in case you're wondering what happens if the buyer stops making payments, well, then you just foreclose on them just like you'd be the bank and you get the property back and you get to keep all the money. So third scenario I got coming in. Previous client of mine. All right. She is moving into a independent living community called the Beatitudes. Really, really nice place. Okay. And she's got a smoking deal. All right. So she signed the paperwork to go in. They were discussing with her daughter and her son-in-law who are living on the property about the daughter and son-in-law getting proceeds from the sale when Aunt Beth, or the lady in question, decided to sell the place, that they could go use as down payment to go buy their own house. Well, Mom just decided to make this transaction and stuff, and now the kids are going to purchase the place from Mom, basically. So my response to all this when they call me up is like, you don't need me. Okay. I will point you to the people that you need to talk to. But after that, I'm not involved in this transaction. Because if I'm involved in this transaction, I'm going to have to charge you. Right? And don't tell Steve this, but, I don't need to get paid on this one. All right? This is all you're going to do. Interfamily transfer. Okay. What the kids are going to do is we're going to do a purchase. Escrow is going to do a purchase agreement. Mom's selling, kids are buying. They are going to come up with a value of the place. Probably something that I suggest to them, which is pretty much the number that they could pull off of Zillow or something like that. I should really compare Zillow with the numbers I'm coming up with and seeing if they're the same. So here's your number. Mom can gift to the kids equity. It's called a gift of equity, and it's stated, here's the purchase price. All right, kids are getting a loan for this amount. The difference between the two, Mom is going to gift to them. In this particular case, she's going to get some equity back so she can use it to offset her costs as she lives in the retirement home. All right. Same thing, though. I don't need to be involved in this. All right. And sometimes Ray doesn't get paid. And Ray's happy not getting paid because, hey, just do this. All right, go for it. Now, I'm pretty sure the kids are going to wind up, because the daughter really doesn't want to live in that place. And she's got dreams of living in other neighborhoods and whatnot. So, but hopefully I get that listing when they decide to sell, and hopefully I get to work with them when they're buy. We've already been, talking about houses, and she's, been looking at stuff and the stuff that I'm sending out to her, and we'll see what happens there. But it's, like I said, it's a fun thing. It doesn't necessarily, if you just want to transfer to family members, there's ways to do that. All right. You also need to really talk to your tax accountants, all right? Because we're talking about a gift here. We need to figure out how much we need to, you can get away with on a gift before you trigger a taxable event. Asterisk, Ray is not a tax attorney. Go talk to a real person. But this seems like a reasonable, equitable solution for all parties. So, the thing that was funny about this is that I talked to the husband. Husband's completely on board with it. He's a numbers guy. So I'm breaking down the numbers to him. I'm like, this is how you can do this. This, this is how much you're going to save. This is a better run and stuff like that. But apparently his wife is not grokking the numbers or not understanding what Ray's saying or what the husband is saying. So they're actually coming in here tomorrow at 5. So I can tell the wife what I've been telling the husband, and the husband agrees with, because apparently she doesn't believe anything that he's saying. Or doesn't understand it, and maybe I can say it better. Anyways. So that's that scenario. So we've got 3 different unusual scenarios. Okay, the first one is, how do we unlock equity of a house so we can buy something else? Third one is, how do we sell a piece of property when we can't get a loan on it? Okay. And then the third one ultimately is, how do we transfer property from point A to point B? All right, when it's in family. So this is, they don't teach you this stuff in real estate school. They'll breeze over the top of, seller carrybacks and stuff like that. And, real estate school didn't have iBuyers back then. But they're really not going to talk to you about how to unlock the equity before purchase. A lot of cases, I would say you'd want to use a knock program on this. All right. Can't use a knock program on this particular one simply because of you're not buying property. All right. But if you're trying to do that with a regular house, I'd say use a knock program. All right. Works great. It's a little stressful for Ray, but hey, honestly, what isn't? All right. That's the reason why you guys pay me, so I can stay up in the middle of the night thinking about things so you don't have to. So, what else do we got going on? That's pretty much the highlights. It is a lot of running around trying to get all these things done. I'd love to be able to get that property under contract with the seller carryback, because I think we listed the first week of January. All right, we're about 4 months into it. That, and I'm just so tired of all the dude bros and their weird offers that they're coming in with, and they're always trying to get. I was yelling at this agent today, like seriously, I got loud with them. HomeSmart agent, of course, sent me an offer a week ago on this property. and texted me, hey, I just sent you an offer, da 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 da. Can you get back to me after you review it? I said, great, I'll take a look at it, send it over to my client. Talked to my client the next morning. He said, nah, dog, because not a full price offer, substantially under asking. And they wanted a septic tank inspected and repaired if it wasn't working, and wanted a crack repaired in the house, in the wall. And I called, I just said, but here's the problem. They wrote this in the original offer. We will pay you this, and you're going to do this along with giving us the house. It was an open-ended ask. All right? It was an open-ended condition. What I mean by that is that my client and me do not know what the dollar price would be accepting this offer. Does that make sense? Okay. It's like, we'll buy the house for X amount if you put a new roof on. Okay. Well, we could do some homework and try to figure out what a new roof is going to be and stuff like that. But when it's something like a crack in the block, it's like, okay, is that foundational? All right. Or what? What's causing that? And it's going to cost us money to find that out. That's why we're selling the land and not the house. It just happens to have a structure on it, but we're selling land. And now you want us to repair the structure on there so you can live on there. And I've told you from the get-go, you can't live there. So the reason why I came up again this morning, because I replied back to it and said, hey, dude, we're going to reject your offer. You have two things on there. These are open-ended statements. These are open-ended asks. We're not agreeing to anything like that, and your price is off. So last night about 9 o'clock, and of course, I don't read email after 9 because nothing good happens after that. I get this email from the guy, and I'm reading it this morning. And he's going, hey, just wonder if we're going to get a response on that offer I sent you last week. And I replied back. It's like, yeah, I sent you a text response on April the 15th at 9:45 in the morning. Okay. And, you can find it and read what I said. Next thing you know, the guy's calling me up. And he's still trying to work a deal. He's like, oh, so, do you think it's going to cost too much to repair the house? I'm like, yeah, because it's not a house. It's a structure. Right? That's not a home. You can't live in there. Right? And honestly, no more, I don't think it's financially viable for anybody to put money into that, to make it livable. It's not a house. And we're not going to be pumping out in, warranting the septic tank because there is no septic tank, right? It has a coffer in the ground. Now, I did not realize that a lot of people don't know what a coffer is, all right? It's a block construction. Okay. You ever heard of a term coffer dam? That's where a little dam that you build so you can build the main dam. Anyway, so it's a coffer. It's somebody dug a hole back in 1948, lined it in brick, and had been using that for a septic tank. It does not have a leach field. It is not an actual tank. It is a hole in the ground. Okay? It's a cesspit. Literal cesspit. That has a legal description. Okay? I don't know if cesspits are open or covered, but you can think of this as a covered cesspit. All right, no leach field. Every year, have the honey truck come out, pump that sucker out. Bob's your uncle, you're done. You're asking me, Ray, how does this thing come to existing? Well, in 1948, when you're 5 miles out of town in the Arizona desert, all right, building your own place like a good frontiersman did, you didn't worry about stuff like this. All right. Well, do you have permits built on this? In 1948, I'm not even sure they needed permits. Way, way outside of Ray's scope. I can tell you they own the property. I can tell you when the building was built. I can tell you that building is reflected on Arizona tax records. None of this is a guarantee of the habitability of that house. So, I know, some of you guys are thinking, wow, that just sounds like heaven. Five miles out into the desert, no people around me. Yeah, it probably was back then. All right, but sewer's not put in. All right, kitchen was not tied into the sewer because they're recovering the water for the garden. Yeah. Okay, we're talking homesteading. I mean, this is right up there. It's like if you came up to me and said, yeah, that sod house that you built out there on the prairie, can you confirm that it doesn't have termites in it? No, because it's sod. It's got everything in there. It's got nematodes in there. I'll let you guys Google what nematodes are. Gold star to everybody who knows what I'm talking about on that. Anyway, still. So, I tell you all this to say this, all right? Real estate is a lot of fun. Real estate, it helps it. The more you know, the more it helps you because you have more solutions. Agent on the other side of the seller carryback, she understands these things. She works for a brokerage that does a lot of seller carryback. These sound pretty awesome. You know, I was talking to her and I said, hey, if you want your broker to give me a call and stuff like that, I would love to talk to him. He sounds like a lot of fun to talk to him. He's outside the box thinking. It's okay to be outside the box thinking is good. Outside the room that the box is kept in bad. Okay, so let's work within our ground. So if you like to buy or sell a house, a normal house, I do normal houses too. I do normal transactions. All right, but if you have a weird one, I guess you know who you need to talk to. So what else did I see the other day? Let's see, real estate. Inventory's going up. It always goes up right now. We should be peaking right about now or next week. Okay, we'll start coming down. If we hit 26, that would be pretty average for us. Closings actually are higher this year so far than they were this time last year, even though all these agents say, boy, market's really slow this year. It's like, no, it's not. It's actually picking up. It's just that you're not doing anything. You know, go out there, find people. Go forth, find clients. You know, do YouTube channels, right? Don't do TikTok, right? Apparently TikTok's got this new thing going on right now where you are signing over to TikTok your likeness and voice. So they can AI your ass. Okay, you could have a little AI Ray saying all sorts of freaking weird, heinous shit that you know I would never say. Okay. Like, never watch your children and pets around water. They'll be perfectly safe, all right? Driving in things that are flooded is fun. And there's a thing called hydroplaning, all right? And working your circles, no, you want to alienate yourself, sit at home all day, just doom scroll on your phone. Don't talk to any strangers or anything like that. They're scary and bad for you, all right? And I want you to have, actually, I really do want you guys having a great weekend, all right? I'll talk to you guys all later, and hopefully next week I can talk to you about my new website.